It's the first Tuesday in the 10th month of the year, 2022. And while September clocked out making its mark in history, October is our now. And with the past as an indicator for the future, I can confidently say that we have so much further to go, so much more to do, and a lot more to say as we build Jamaica, a place for families, for opportunities, and for stability. Hi there, everyone. I'm Adrian Atkinson, and this is your homegrown Barnyard with you through the ages, Jamaica Magazine.
It's always beautiful in Jamaica. Everything usually be green and pretty. We have beautiful water. Temperature that is normal temperature. The water never cold. We've been into business for about 13 years. JUSC-COOL, just cool. It's spelled with 3 0. We make 3 different types of pudding. We make potato, we make cornmeal, and we make total. This is the cornmeal, okay? That's actually almost the last process. What he's gonna do now, he's gonna put a gel on top. Within no time, he has to take it off because the gel give it a nice taste. We have people like Shelley and Fraser came here. We have, you could name the biggest artists, Shabba Ranks, name them all. Being the Man, they all come here and buy their pudding. This is what we grew up on. Now, when the people come to Jamaica, everybody, as soon as they land off the plane, this is where they come. They want to taste this pudding because it's bringing them back to the old days. The long time days when they was kids growing up and they used to sit on the fire and watch their mama, their grandmother bake the pudding. We try not to change off our roots, we try to keep it that way. And not only that, we have a lot of love because we're all about love.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, October 4, 2022. Jamaica continues to show positive signs of economic growth with a 4.8% increase for the April to June quarter this year. The figure was released by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, which credits the performance to a 7.2% increase in the services industries. The goods-producing industries declined by 2%. This downward trend was due to lower output level of quarrying and construction for the period. However, growth was recorded for manufacturing, agriculture, forestry, and fishing. All 8 sectors of the services industries grew, with hotels and restaurants leading with 56%. 59 assorted vehicles were added to the fleet of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, to increase its mobility. These include 29 utility vehicles and 30 motorbikes. The vehicles were handed over on Friday at the office of the police commissioner. They will be assigned to the JCF's quick response teams and deployed to high-priority areas across the island. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says the provisions underscore the government's commitment to improve and expand the capacity of the police to restore public order and safety.
Response time involves mobility, communication, and well-trained officers. Mobilities which gives a level of reassurance and confidence in citizens who can see the response time of police and see them very visible on the highway and in the community they're in.
Our mobility is one of the key pillars on which we operate. It's critical in an environment where the persons who are doing the wrong things in society are very mobile. They are traversing the country, and we also need to be able to move likewise and intercept them and engage them as necessary.
A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of Seaview Gardens in the St. Andrew South Division. The curfew, which began at 6 p.m. on October 3, will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Wednesday, October 5. The boundaries of the curfew are north along Leland Avenue from White Sea Drive to Yellow Sea Drive and east along Yellow Sea Drive to Leland Avenue. For the south, the boundary will run along Yellow Sea Drive to White Sea Drive and west along White Sea Drive to Leland Avenue. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is reminding persons within the boundaries that during the curfew hours, they are required to stay within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. The Ministry of Education and Youth will be providing special psychosocial support to students of Kingston Technical High School who witnessed the fatal stabbing of one of their schoolmates by another last Thursday. During a visit to the school on Monday, Education Minister Favour Williams assured the students that the ministry will provide continued support to them as they grieve.
It's time to help each other to get, to move through this situation, to do the grieving, and to support each other.
She also adds that representatives of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, have already begun visiting and engaging with students at the institution.
I'll be working with the Ministry of Justice to ensure that the students at Kingston Technical High School receive some training in restorative justice practice.
Additionally, Mrs. Williams says the ministry is in the process of reaching out to parents to help them understand the harmful impact that cursing, fighting, and shouting can have on their children. More students at the secondary level are being exposed to the field of technology through communications technology, ICT, clubs in schools. Students from 21 high schools will benefit from ICT clubs being initiated by the Universal Service Fund, USF. The aim is to strengthen the integration of technology in learning. Club activities will allow students to learn about user interface and experience design, coding, and animation, among other areas. An essay competition is also included. Jamaica Technology and Digital Alliance, JTDA, will partner with USF to guide students on various industry trends. The fund, which is an agency of the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology, hosted a sensitization session on the initiative on Friday. Portfolio ministers for education and technology welcome the initiative and anticipate the expansion in other schools.
We hope our schools, the schools that are designated for this initiative, that you embrace it fully, because we want to learn from you so that when we roll it out to other schools, we will do it better.
These initiatives represent the beautiful convergence of education and technology. I believe that they are indeed timely as we emerge from the ravages of the COVID pandemic.
And finally, several farmers in Flaggerman, St. Elizabeth, who were affected by a bushfire on August 16, have received much-needed farm inputs and supplies to assist with their recovery. The items were provided by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries in collaboration with private entities. They include seeds, fertilizers, herbicides, guinea grass, insecticide, farming tools, black water tanks, irrigation kits, and clothing. During the handover last week, Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. said the support is aimed at bringing the affected farmers back into full production.
We want farmers in Flaggerman, in St. Elizabeth, Council Palmer, and across Jamaica to be able to build resilience. I'm very happy that a few weeks after, we can be here to help the farmers get back on their feet. Because in our business of farming, time is money. And these farmers are ready to go.
I feel good. I feel good to know that we have received this support from RADA and the ministry as well. I want to say thanks to the government and all the ministries that are involved, all the stakeholders.
The bushfire resulted in loss of crops, irrigation equipment, tools and supplies amounting to approximately $3.8 million. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
How many more must die because of reckless drivers? How fast is too fast? Make we take time, no man. Obey the rules of the road. Drive with care.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness had a busy schedule this past week. Let's catch up with him in this next feature.
Prime Minister shares preliminary assessment of damage caused by Tropical Storm Ian, hands over water trucks, and tours infrastructure works at the National Water Commission. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Vanessa Silvera.
The very preliminary estimates to reopen roads and make surfaces drivable is $360 million. Preliminary, it might increase a little bit more, but thankfully, Madam Speaker, it is not in the billions.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness updating the nation on damage caused by the passage of Tropical Storm Ian. During Wednesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, Mr. Holness said the National Works Agency, NWA, is continuing its assessment of the damage, which he said should be completed in 2 weeks' time. So far, 47 roads were badly affected by landslides, mud flow, and downed trees, which rendered several communities inaccessible. 8 of the island's 14 parishes were severely affected. Mr. Holness told the House that all roads, except for some corridors in Clarendon, have been cleared. The Prime Minister added that a breakaway at Sutton, in Lower Chapelton, Clarendon, will have to be rebuilt for the roadway to reopen. Tuesday also saw the Prime Minister bolstering the National Water Commission NWC's capacity to better serve its customers. 8 new water trucks were delivered to the entity's Marasca Road facility in Kingston.
We have 8 trucks here. I have $96.5 million for 7, so you work that out, it would be $105 million for the 8 trucks. That's a significant allocation.
By Wednesday, the Prime Minister launched a floating solar project at the Mona Reservoir in St. Andrew. With the installation of the 45 megawatts of floating solar photovoltaic panels, the facility is expected to save $1 billion annually on its electricity bill. It's also anticipated that there will be a significant reduction in the evaporation of water at the reservoir.
This administration has taken a decision, in keeping with our good fiscal management of your affairs, that we cannot allow the NWC to become a fiscal risk to the government.
The project is being executed by Dorillion Energy Limited at a cost of $62.5 million. A new 4-year partnership agreement involving the government, opposition, trade unions, and civil society is now in place. At King's House Wednesday, the partners signed the Social Partnership Agreement 2022 to 2026, subtitled Partnership for Jamaica's Strong and Sustainable Recovery. It incorporates 5 strategic pillars of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and Vision 2030 Jamaica. Prime Minister Andrew Holness reaffirmed the government's commitment to accomplishing long-term national goals rather than short-term political imperatives.
That is the strategy. Prosperity, peace, people, planet, partnership. We believe and we affirm that Jamaica's progress can be retarded by a divisive political climate, and we commit to bring genuine, transparent, and accountable bipartisanship to national life.
Mr. Holness also reiterated the state's commitment to building trust and confidence in national processes, with attention being paid to the elimination of corruption in all forms. Back at the office of the Prime Minister Friday, Mr. Holness met with the second cohort of the Jamaica House Fellowship Program. The 7 Jamaica House Fellows who began their 2-year tenure in 2020 served in various ministries, departments, and agencies of government. The Fellows shared their triumphs and challenges while working with the state. A new batch of Jamaica House Fellows is to be named soon. The Prime Minister back on the road Friday, touring completed upgrades to the NWC's Constant Spring plant. He also viewed work being done on the $2.4 billion Spanish Town Road pipeline.
This is a massive project with significant impact for the communities in Kingston and St. Andrew. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness reading the second lesson at Sunday's National Memorial Church service for the late Queen Elizabeth II. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister. I'm Vanessa Silvera.
Plastic is a useful product that's used in almost every aspect of our lives. It's durable, resistant to corrosion, water and chemicals. Yet it is one of the biggest threats to our environment. A ban on single-use plastic has been in place since January 1, 2019. Hear more about the initiative next.
Plastics. How did plastics become a crisis? It's an interesting issue if you really think about the history of what plastics are, what we use them for, how we consume them as individuals. The problem you have with plastics is that because of how good it is as a packaging material, because it is so light, so cheap, we have gotten away. We have overdone it. Everything is wrapped in plastic, even what doesn't need to be. The reality is 13% of Jamaica's waste is largely plastic, or is some form of plastic, whether it's PET, HDPE, PC, whichever other category of plastic it is. And we know that for the vast majority of this plastic, it is indeed plastic bottles. Why don't you just ban it? And people ask me that every single day. Just ban the plastic bottles. And quite frankly, you can't, because the alternative is glass, and globally there's a glass shortage. I don't know if there'll be some global event that makes glass far more available, and cleaner ways will come to sterilize it. But as it stands now, that's not an option. So we have to target it through a deposit refund scheme. But there are items that we have banned. Persons largely will remember the scandal bag ban, styrofoam ban, plastic straws. And the reasons were that these items are largely non-recyclable, they're non-biodegradable, and in many cases, because of how they're used, they emit carcinogens that are harmful to human health. We consume, especially with lunch boxes, a lot of gravy, a lot of heat. Heat and styrofoam not meant to mix in that sort of way for human consumption. Hence the challenge. Now, has the ban been perfect? No, there's no perfect public policy. Has the ban reduced by a few 100,000 tons the amount of plastic waste going into our waste stream? Absolutely. Is that a win? Absolutely. Are we proud of it? Absolutely. Can we tweak it to make it better? Absolutely. We have seen persons who have gone right outside of the regulations on plastic bags. So they've gone a little thicker or a little larger, trying to use plastic instead of paper-based and recyclable alternatives or reusable alternatives. That means we're going to have to move the goalpost. And that move will come this year. We're going to have to increase the size both in terms of dimensions and thickness and types of plastic bags that are banned. So for all of those who may be online now listening to us and contemplating their next round of purchases, I would suggest strongly to you that you look at the recycling alternatives, because you will get stuck with goods. And the minimum order quantities for these sorts of things, you will have months of goods put down. And that increase in size is coming and coming fast. We took out styrofoam, or expanded polystyrene foam, as the appropriate term should be. The intention of the ban was not for you to switch styrofoam for plastic. It is the intention of the government to remove these plastic lunch containers from the waste stream by also expanding the ban to include them. Again, I would then suggest to those who import to do so with the minimum quantities, because you don't want to get stuck with something that you'll only be able to recycle. And no, we will not be reimbursing for those, because we're sending the signal clear. Our sewage plants and wastewater processing stations really can't manage these microplastics. There is no way for us to filter them out of the wastewater stream. We don't need them. They're deleterious to human health, deleterious to marine health. They can affect soil quality. They have to go. As a part of the expanded ban, we will include microplastics as a part of personal care products. Jamaica, the end of this financial year, will have a legislated deposit refund scheme. That system will have to work with customs, the NCRA, BSJ, NEPA, NSWMA, and indeed the Ministry of Industry, in ensuring that the way we implement it is done seamlessly, causes no disruption to supply and production, and it is done in a way where it does not trigger further inflation. So if you think of what that's trying to achieve, right, that is trying to deal with issues of collection, it's trying to deal with building out a circular economy, it's trying to get in many ways the public, the business community to help us collect 13% of the waste and bring it along their routes of travel to points of collection to make it easier logistically for NSWMA. But it also will help us to reduce our carbon footprint. We're going to have to disaggregate all of the things that are classified as environmental management, and we're going to have to accept that as a part of our economic development doctrine as a country, we are going to manage our environment with very strict regulations in a manner that is enforced and that gives confidence but gives predictability. Cannot be haphazard. This is why I'm very happy that NEPA was able to report that 42 persons have been prosecuted. Now, we're going to go on a drive. I'm going to be working with the NCRA and indeed Customs and the JCF over the coming months. That number is going to increase significantly based on what we're seeing in society. And we're seeing it at the higher end of the economic scale and the lower end of the economic scale. And these strictures and penalties will be applied equally regardless of where persons are operating.
Let us resolve our family disputes peacefully. A family is a circle of love, support, and strength. Violence has no place.
Just 10,991 kilometers square. But our offerings and impact are immense. We're often branded the place of choice for fun, frolic, and beautiful vistas. But Jamaica is much more than that. Take a look.
Our story is one of resilience, where the versatility and hardiness of wood and the adaptability and openness of water have created a nation that is Talawa. It is this philosophy that has enabled a robust business environment, recognized as the country with the world's highest performing stock market, the best Caribbean country for doing business, the easiest place to start a business and to get credit, #1 in the Caribbean and 8th in Latin America and the Caribbean for cargo movement, the best destination in the Caribbean. This is Jamaica, Jamrock, the place called Yard. This philosophy has birthed a competitive business environment supporting large-scale investments through developments in infrastructure, governance, manufacturing, trade, and logistics and services. With an area of 10,911 square kilometers from north to west and east to south, 150 kilometers of world-class highways traversing woodlands and green fields remain the bedrock of the economy. From there, supporting road networks journey through stories that resonate in the hearts of families. 3 international airports, with the Caribbean's leading Sangster International Airport, and 4 domestic landing strips extend the creative and enterprising spirit of those who call this rock home, all supported by a robust maritime industry. Jamaica's stable democratic governance structure is balanced by strong legislative and executive arms with an independent judiciary. This system facilitates numerous trade and bilateral partnerships that have generated over $6 billion United States dollars in foreign direct investment, or FDI, over the past 10 years. With improved fiscal management, the Green Isle of the Indies is the 3rd largest recipient of FDI inflows in the Caribbean, and the 2nd largest in the small island developing states. The country remains a prime manufacturing hub. The natural resources and the supportive framework creates an ideal ecosystem for agro-processing, light assembly and contract manufacturing, fabrication and limestone-based industries. Homegrown conglomerates including Grace Kennedy, Continental Baking Company Limited, Jamaica Producers Group Limited and Red Stripe are several of the brands recognized internationally for excellence. With expanded and upgraded port facilities island-wide, the country is capitalizing on the additional trade opportunities accessible through the docking of post-Panamax ships. These investments have positioned the Port of Kingston as the Caribbean's second largest transshipment and multi-purpose hub. With 51 designated special economic zones, Jamaica is emerging as the fourth global logistics node interconnecting continents and people. With a sustainability approach, the expansion and build-out of economic zones are creating the ideal conditions for attracting global investments. Service with a smile and a no-problem attitude defines the service industry in Jamaica. This sector contributes to over 2/3 of the country's gross domestic product, thus asserting the industry as a key growth area. This is further supported by a cost-competitive workforce. Jamaica remains the largest English-speaking country in the Western Hemisphere. With an enabling infrastructure for investment and growth, this little rock is a business paradise with prime opportunities for swift delivery to consumers and substantial cost savings. So whether it is 19 degrees north or just over 3 hours from the United States mainland, choose your spot. Let's meet and discuss. Where multi-hued seas kiss sandy beaches, palm trees provide shade for notepads, and refreshment is the universal taste of yard.
I love waking up every day in this country. This is where I was born and raised. I have such a passion for my country, and for me this is home. In Jamaica, a lot of people, they look at just like beach, sea, sand, but our mountains are something to behold. It's majestic up there, and it's a different type of peace. It's a different type of lifestyle completely. I could mention many different places that are amazing, but the one thing I do love about Jamaica as well is that you can find that relaxation, you can find that chill in your backyard. Apart from it being an incredibly beautiful country, an incredibly beautiful island, we have a wonderful, wonderful culture, wonderful, vibrant, colorful people. There is definitely a realness to Jamaica. There's definitely something that no matter what keeps you in touch with reality here. Why come to Jamaica? It all comes back down to Jamaica as a whole. The food, the music, the culture, the people, the climate. Come out and meet us, come out and experience what Jamaica has to offer.
That's all the time we have on this station, but only for today. We return tomorrow with another information-packed Jamaica Magazine program just for you. We are available at your convenience online, jis.gov.jm, or be sure to drop us a line, Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. It was Peggy Tony Horton who said, "Ah, September, you're the doorway to the season that awakens my soul. But I must confess that I love you only because you are a prelude to my beloved October." I'm Adrian Atkinson. I do hope it brings you great things.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.